Hello, hello, hello. We are here. We're doing a thing. As we do every Tuesday, we're here talking about singing stuff. And I just want to say hello, and I hope you're doing okay in this crazy, crazy season. I know everybody I've talked to is overwhelmed about everything. So I hope you're taking care of yourself. God knows we all need to do more of that because we take care of everybody else all the time. And if I'm your only reminder to take care of you, that's fine with me. Take care of yourself. Because if you're a singer, your voice is inside of your body. And if you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of your voice, right? So you can't expect your voice to do all the talking and singing and extra stuff that it to do over the holiday season if you're not taking care of your body. A thing that I always forget myself is that rest is the most efficient way to heal stuff. And I don't know about you, but I have trouble resting sometimes. I've done many a live about this because it's always on my mind. It's always a thing that I need. But a lot of us, there are many other ways to rest other than just vocal rest, right? There's many other ways to heal and to grow your voice that are not just not using it. So that's another big part of it too. And that's a lot of what I try and work into my sessions with people and into my group programs is number one, I build in rest weeks, aka implementation weeks, for the group programs because it's so important to let go of the need to just go every time, every week, because we have to give ourselves some space around that, around a lot of things, especially when it comes to singing. And if we are forcing ourselves to get better and improve and do every single week without letting up, then we find ourselves, guess what, in burnout mode. Same principle goes for while you're singing too. If we think about this in a moment to moment while you're singing micro aspect as well, rest is important, but what if you have to make sound, right? What if you have to sing in a concert? What if you have to go caroling with your family? What if you have a lot of phone conversations to be having at work or something? Your voice still has to work for you, but how can we find little moments of rest here and there? And a lot of it has to do with, number one, giving yourself the moments of breath you need. This is something we don't think a lot about, especially when we're speaking, because we're so on a path with it and we have patterns with it that we forget that we can actually stop and take a relaxed breath in the middle of a sentence. And that is not as strange as you think it is, I promise people are not going to freak out if you take another release half a second to refuel yourself, because when you have the fuel from underneath, you have the ability to go for longer and to do more powerful things, right? So if you have some just speaking to do, play a game with yourself next time you're on a long phone conversation and you have a lot of things to talk about. If you find yourself getting into this I got a lot of stuff to say and I can't slow down, otherwise my brain will forget all the things, and oh my god, I have to keep talking, right? And then all of a sudden you feel that you've reached the end of your rope, that you're on tired muscles now. That's a very good thing to notice, because then you can start to play the game of okay, what if way before I got to that point, I decided to take an extra breath here, and extra breath here. Or even though I take little breaths while I'm speaking, because I have to keep going, what if I doubled those in length, right? It doesn't even have to be doubled in capacity, right? You don't have to take in 100% of air all the time. It doesn't have to be, because that's 100% is way too full. It causes more tension on the other side of it. But if you just, instead of maybe you took right? Just a little bit of a difference. Gives you just that much more fuel just that much more release in here, just that much more release in your lower abs, so that they have a little bit more room to help engage as you are speaking the rest of your sentence, then you're good to go, right? You have a little more fuel, and you don't have to go to the reserves, which is almost always your external vocal muscles, and you over push and you overdo. So once you get to the end of your sentence and you don't have any more air, you're like, oh my God, how do I get the sound out? Squeeze here. So preemptively giving yourself a little moment of rest, a little moment of refueling. That's all it has to be. And when I do it, you probably don't even notice. I'm doing it right now. Because I usually talk so fast, I notice it. It feels really awkward for me to take a little fuller breath than usual. But it probably doesn't to you, who doesn't speak to me all the time, right? So it really is a matter of like, where are your priorities, you know? Are my priorities in getting as many words out in as humanly possible within the next 30 seconds? Or is my priority sustaining my vocal folds because I have other more precious things to do with it than just this sentence, you know? So a thought. The other part of how we incorporate rest while we're using our voice is the thing that everybody wants to know, is how do I belt with more power without straining, right? How do I sing riffs and runs without getting tired? And a lot of that is from the beginning, starting to think about where is it coming from in your body. Just like we were talking about, like this is your steering wheel, this is your gas pedal, your low abs are your gas pedal. So if you find yourself really defaulting into a pattern maybe of when you try and get these big beltier notes, these big more powerful notes out, if you find yourself just singing from this part of your voice, you're most likely going to have this extra work, extra muscling that's happening in the outer vocal muscles here. It's the ones you feel either in the front here, maybe your tongue's a part of that extra work that's happening. Maybe you feel it on the sides here. I feel it kind of both when I overdo it. So keep that in mind. That is your body's way of telling you, like, hey, you're trying to do way more work and lift way more weight with these teeny little muscles than can handle it, right? So before you go for that big note, maybe have your goal, instead of sounding as powerful or being as loud as possible, switch your goal in your mind to, how can I let this be the easiest for me physically possible, while still letting out some sound, right? Because a lot of times we think about, how do I make sound happen? We think of ourselves as the creator of this sound. I need to do this and this and this, and those are the ingredients of a powerful sound. And that usually equals muscle, push, force, manipulate. Those are our ingredients that we naturally go to. A lot of us. Some of us, it's the opposite. We don't do. We hide. But that's a conversation for a different day. But if that's the case, if you are a doer, if you are a fighter, if you are a perfectionist, if you are a let me fix this until it's perfect, and then and only then will I share it, this is how things show up in our body very often, right? We go for big high notes or big runs from the place of, I'm going to make it happen, right? I'm going to do this shit. So that energy turns into muscle from the place that we feel that that sound is coming from. Yes, the sound is coming from here, but these muscles have an agenda of their own. They have a whole pattern of working that they have been doing since you were born, literally since the moment you were born. Think of a baby crying at the top of their lungs. They're hungry or they pooped or something. All of a sudden, big ol' sound, right? They have not had to overthink that sound. The option for them, the only option, is let out the sound. Be the vessel, right? Be open. Let it come from the gut where I'm feeling that emotion. With adults, we've gotten ourselves into many, many decades often of convoluted thinking about how do I make this happen? How do I intellectualize this process? How do I do more so that I can make more sound? And that is the only equation, right? If I'm not making enough sound, I have to do more. And unfortunately, when we're talking about big volume, big belty notes, riffs and runs, often the better option is to do less from the right place in your body, right? Here is not the place to add more weight onto. Because if you think about it as gas pedal down here, steering wheel up here, when you push on a steering wheel, it doesn't make the car go faster. It will run you off the road if you push in the wrong place. However, if you push on the gas pedal, then the car will go from its engine, not from its steering mechanism. This is its steering mechanism. So if you can start to think, okay, how do I give myself more ease? How do I bring more rest into this sound making process? The goal is not to stop singing or stop making as much sound. The goal is to redirect where that power is coming from in your body. And it's not going to be from here. Anything above your bottom rib, basically, this is part of this mechanism that is attuned already to really good alignment. We do it when we're speaking. We do it when we're yelling across the street at a friend. We do it when we're talking to somebody really close to us. We get the science of sound making. We do it really well all the time, most of us. However, we forget that when we're singing, that we have that capacity as well. We think we have to learn more. We have to do more because singing is hard, AKA more work, more effort equals better. Raise your hand if that has ever felt like you. If you ever tried to put so much more effort into making a bigger sound in here and you regretted it. Me, I've done that many times. So what we need to do is think about, okay, how do I make this easier on myself? Where do I put it that I'm not pulling all that weight up into here, especially when you're singing big belty things, right? Like since we're in the holiday season, the thing that's coming to mind is fall on your knees, right? So many people will go fall. They go really hard into that because it's the big climaxy note, right? Or we forget that we have a chest voice altogether, and so we go fall, and then we default flip into your head voice, right? Yes, that is giving your body less pressure, and that's what your body is naturally doing to take that pressure off. It's switching gears real quick for you into that flip. But if you want a bigger and louder sound, sometimes we have to just do a little bit of rehearsal ahead of time, make a different plan. Plans are the best foundation for rest. If you don't have a plan going into a phrase or something, you will do so much extra work in the moment that you're trying to do that, trying to figure out how to fix it before it even comes out wrong, or trying to fix non-existent problems by not having a plan. If you have a plan, then you have a focus, and then you can be the driver in the driver's seat, and you can say, okay, this is what we're doing. If it doesn't go according to plan, fine. That's totally cool. It's not always your fault. Plans get derailed all the time, but at least you have a choice to make, right? You made that choice ahead of time. And so all of a sudden there's way less pressure on you to have to make a choice in the moment. And sometimes we stop making that choice altogether. We put our hands up and I say, well, I just suck, right? And my voice did that wrong thing. I don't know. It's not my fault. My voice just sucks, right? But if you do the work ahead of time and you plan in the ease, what feels easier for me is to derail that need to pull up all this weight and put it back down in my abs where it belongs. My abs are the gas pedal, remember? Those ab muscles can do so much brute force work with no problem. That's what they do all day long. They get you up out of bed. They help you stay upright. They turn and twist for you. They do so much work all day. They can do this extra little work for you. These muscles, however, they are for navigating. They are not for all that extra work, right? Hi, Mel. We're talking about how to add rest into your vocals as you're singing. So as you're singing, if you have a big belty note to do, like that fall on your knees, right? That's the one that comes to mind. Sorry if you don't like Christmas music. But if you're going for that note and your default is, okay, I know it's a big high note. I know I'm going to freak out about it. I know I'm probably going to get it wrong, so I'm going to try and fix it before it even comes out. All of a sudden, your body responds to that and it goes, okay, we're doing more work in the singing muscles, right? We're taking all of that into the place where that voice is coming from, and we're going to go, ah, right? And so we squeeze into this like either gritty place, or we squeeze so hard that we have to flip into head voice. So it ends up being fall or fall or fall. Because we didn't have a plan, we just let it happen, and the voice kind of directed you into a place of what it had experience with, right? And so that equals more work. If you are a perfectionist like me, if you are an overdoer, if you are an anxious person, we do as much work as humanly possible to make things not fail. And that is a bodily pattern that we have. And so sometimes we need to take a step back, make a plan before you try it, and say, okay, body, I know your pattern is going to be to punch into this note. That has not worked for me in the past. In fact, I might have hurt myself because I overdid it from these muscles. Or I can never make it up there in my chest voice because my body always flips because of a fear of hurting myself, right? This is where knowing yourself and your patterns and your experiences in your nervous system really comes in handy. Because then you can say, oh, well, of course, I hurt myself once 5 years ago. No wonder I'm afraid of this big no, right? I got to give myself some love and some grace around that because my nervous system has experience with this. And it, of course, is going to try and save me from that pain and again, right? So it's going to either squeeze more so you have more power because that's what it thinks power is coming from, or it's going to bail you into your head voice, so take that pressure off immediately. Thank goodness our nervous system is looking out for us, right? Love that for us. It's really important that we have that nervous system so we don't make bad decisions in everyday life, so we don't walk into traffic, so we don't eat the thing that we're allergic to, you know? Thank goodness for our nervous system for looking out. However, when we're singing, a lot of us have experiences that make our nervous system turn on red alert. And so we go into that red alert mode of, uh-oh, I better do more so that that bad sound doesn't come out again, right? So in the spirit of rest, we make a plan. Okay, that time didn't work. So where else can I put all this extra pushing? Because I'm not going to get rid of that need in my body. I'm not going to turn myself into a non-anxious person overnight. that needs to come from somewhere. I'm going to put it in my gas pedal. I'm going to put it in my abs, in my gut, right? Sing from underneath. I'm going to take it out of this whole section of my body, because the more tension that comes into here, the more it comes into here, and it adds to this tightness. It adds to pulling in different directions. It adds to your tongue also getting involved. Some of us, if you are a tongue tension person, I feel ya. So instead of worrying about all those things, I'm going to give that control mechanism somewhere else to go that is more helpful, and that is underneath, right? So because we know ourselves, and we know that when we go for a big belty note, we're going to want to squeeze. We're not getting mad at ourselves. That is a normal thing. All of us humans have a pattern, right? This is just your pattern. If your pattern is to shy away from it, also your pattern. Don't shame yourself for it. When you go for that big belty note, from the spirit of ease and rest, you're going to put all that power in the gas pedal. Tongue tension, friends, unite. So what I want you to do is practice pressing your feet into the ground. If you're standing up, you can bend your knees like an inch. That will turn on your low abs. If you're not sure what your low abs are, do a little mini squat. They'll turn on for you. Or imagine like hunker down like you're about to punch somebody. those are the abs that you want. So that's what you're going to do. Then notice that they're not like a full crunch. You're not actually moving your whole body. It's not a big movement. It's just an engagement feeling. It's like getting ready for something, right? It's like a character in a video game that's like, I'm ready. Put me in, right? That's that feeling. You need to be ready and ready to move. So you go for that big no from the place of underneath power instead of pulling power and being afraid that's not going to happen. So you had a plan, you tried it, it felt a little better in here, right? It took some of your body's need to engage with your tongue, with your jaw, with all the other things, and it sent it somewhere else. These muscles love being able to help you. I don't know, I haven't talked to them lately. I like to personify things to me. But they're able to help you. They're able to do so much of this work that we put on these muscles. So send it down. Send all the feelings down, especially when you're singing high notes. It's the first mind trick that voice teachers will tell you. If you have to sing a big high note, think down. Easy peasy. And this is the reason behind it, because down notes, number one, help to engage your low abs, help to engage, which is the start of all of this correct alignment. Number two, psychologically, it helps you feel like you're not doing a big reach, because when you think big reach, guess what? Pull weight up. When you think, oh, down easy, no problem, then your low abs engage, you let go here because you don't feel like you're doing a big, hard, scary thing, comes out really nice and easily. You have this big open tube feeling. So you end up going, you take a big belly breath, you think about coming from here and you go, fall on your knees instead of fall, right? Because I opened this up on purpose, I sent it down here. Sometimes rest is not full rest. It's not letting go completely. It's sending the work to somewhere else. You're just delegating to different parts of your body at the end of the day. And it is knowing that you are not a problem for having these things show up in your body. It is not, you're not any less of a singer, you're not any less of a person, you're not any less talented. You just have a nervous system. You have a pattern. That's what comes with being a human. Everybody creates patterns over their many years. And because you are not a baby, you've had many years of experience of building these patterns of safety, whatever feels safe in your body. So sometimes this work is just to remind yourself that you are safe in a different iteration than maybe you're used to. And sometimes we got to go in through the body to remind ourselves of that, right? And that is practicing different ways of doing it, practicing different pathways of sending sound into the world. Because yes, you have a way that you have always done it. If that is leading you to extra tension, extra pushing, tiredness, burnout, we gotta look at it and change it. Be gentle with yourself throughout this process, though it takes a while. Changing habits, if you ever try to derail a habit in anything, any part of life, is a lot. So be nice to yourself. Hopefully that's helpful. There is rest, and then there is rest within the singing and the sound making. So if you are somebody that speaks a lot for your job, if you are a singer for your job, keep in mind, what is your nervous system's default pattern? How can you bring more ease and more rest into these big, scary moments? How can you remind yourself that you are safe going into these big, scary moments to make them feel a little more doable, and at least give yourself a little more evidence that you did a thing. And then after you do the thing that felt scary, it is now a little less scary to your nervous system. So even if all the gremlin voices are going on in your head and singing, nope, you can't sing that high note. You know your job is to push that gremlin out of the dang room and to say, look, I know that my nervous system is not used to this. This is slightly out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to say yes. I'm going to be a scientist about it. I'm not going to let that judge back in the room, and I'm going to try it a couple different ways until I find the one that feels the easiest and the best, the most restful for me, the most sustainable for me. And then I'm going to bring that gremlin back in and tell him, hey, guess what? You were wrong. Right? I could do it, and F you, basically. Good. I'm glad that Think Down helps. It's a thing. It really is. A lot of what I do is just brain training. It's a lot of mind training, a lot of brain hacking, because we've hacked ourselves into thinking that only one way is good. So why can't we hack ourselves into thinking that a different way is possible? You know? But at the end of the day, if you have a tired voice, if you have a scratchy voice, if you have a voice that is cutting in and out, please rest. Please, actual vocal rest. Whispering doesn't count. Actual vocal rest for as many hours as you can string together. You don't need a whole 24 or 48 hours if you can't, if you just have to work and you do other responsibilities. As many hours as you can string together. Tell your spouse, I have to whisper, or I have to text you things for the next 12 hours. I'm sorry, but I gotta do it. Nothing better than actual vocal rest. However, if you do have to keep going, this will help. Gas pedal, steering wheel. Hopefully that's helpful. Thanks for being here. It was nice to have you all. I'm gonna go have the rest of my day and holding space for vocal rest. Yes, with the finger. Just a little bit of vocal rest. Thick smell, amazing. Is it possible to have a buildup in your throat from having social anxiety your whole life? A buildup of like stuck energy? For sure. I mean, yeah, a lot of people have that. I recommend acupuncture. I recommend Reiki. But this also might help with that. Who knows? Not feeling like you have to be talking, you know? Giving yourself more time and permission to not speak in certain situations, to be quiet without feeling the need to. That could be helpful. Yeah, could be. Interesting. Yeah, I would maybe see about some energy work involving that. Couldn't hurt, you know. I've gotten so much out of my Reiki and acupuncture people for that stuff. But also, a lot of it is nervous system stuff at the end of the day. Like this nervous system training, finding your comfort zone, taking one toe out of it and saying, okay, look at that. I stuck my toe out. I didn't die. Okay. Now my comfort zone is expanded by one toe length. And then you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that. And your body will react. Give yourself that space to train that over time. And don't expect it to change overnight, or even close to an overnight. This stuff takes time. So if you're curious about more of what I do, I'm here. DM me. I'm opening up my Vocal Magic program in January, so save a little money for that. It's going to be new and improved, more affordable, more community-based, more membership ongoing. So if you're interested in working with me, but you haven't felt like you've had the time or space or financial ability to work with me in the past, this might change. So let me know. If you're curious, if you want to get on the wait list, just send me a good old message. Practice breathing in between your sentences this week. Tell me how it goes. In the middle of your sentences. Find as much rest as possible within the middle of not rest. Hopefully this is helpful, and I love you all. I also have access to all my lives up there, and also the waitlist and my warm-ups. So go check out all the thingies if you're curious. And I'm here for you if you have any questions. All right, lots of love.